Hi, it is happy Friday, 15-minute feedback time. Are you ready, Tina?
Yep, new month, new 15-minute feedback. Happy April, everyone.
Oh, it's April Fool's Day too.
Oh, yeah.
So listen, gang, if you can hear me and see me, say hi in the comments. Tell me what you're working on today and if you have applied for 15-minute feedback. For those of you who don't know what 15-minute feedback is, it is a very focused review of your website. So it's focused on one thing on your website, and Tina and I will go through it, and we will actually leave you with 3 action steps. We'll share with you what we think you could do that will actually improve your site. So what's great about this is 15-minute feedback is really for everyone, right? Everyone can benefit from getting to look behind the scenes of somebody else's website. And once you see what we see, you can always go to your own site and check your experience. So we're just going to go through a site today, and I want to share with everyone how they apply too. So Beth, I think she's out, but she's going to drop in the comments a link. If you haven't applied for 15-minute feedback, I want you to go ahead and apply. And it's so good because members and non-members can apply. So Inner Circle members will apply, and people who aren't in the Inner Circle, we want to help you with this too. How do you choose, Tina?
Yeah, that's a good question. I go through the list, and sometimes I'm looking for a site that has a specific thing that I've seen recently popping up, like a common mistake that people make, or sometimes I just pick a site because it's an interesting business and I think that they're doing something really well, or that there's some room for improvement that they might not think of on their own. So really it just varies, just kind of depends on what's going on at that time. Mm-hmm.
I think we try and have like 1 week a member, the next week a non-member.
Yeah, we do alternate members and non-members. And I also try to pick a variety. So we're not always looking at jewelry stores. And like today, we're going to look at a food product store, which is something a little bit different. So yeah.
So Karen from timberlinetack.com is working on her emails today. Go, Karen. That's perfect. And I would love you to apply for 15-minute feedback. We'd love to see that. Rhonda's working on copy for her April sub box and blog. Copy is one of the hardest things for me. Isn't it for you, Tina?
Yeah. It's not an easy one. Yeah, it's a constant evolution.
Hi, Alice. So listen, let's just get started. Let's dig in. If you have questions as we go through, don't hesitate to add your question or comments. Just let us know what you're thinking, and if you have questions that we can help you with while we're here, we'd love to hear them. So Tina,
today we have Holly of Holly's Handmade, and she's actually a long-term Inner Circle member. I think you know her, and I've had a call with her. I've actually ordered her product before, and it's amazing. So I can vouch for it. So Holly's Handmade, she makes jams, jellies, treats, and we're going to go through her user experience because although her site is beautiful and amazing and doing tons of things right, there's a couple of places where she could just optimize and take it to the next level. So we're going to go through, and I think people can learn a lot from this one.
Okay. So Holly's asked specifically for a review on the user experience.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to share her site so everybody can see. And here we go. So I think the first thing we wanted to do is
there's the amazing pop-up. Yes.
So here is Holly's pop-up to get people to join her list. And you can see it doesn't have a discount. So she's saying there's dollars off your first order, but she's not saying what it is. Our best offers, can't miss deals. But here's what I love. And you love it too, Tina. We both did this site independently, and we both were like, oh, that's super smart. Do you want to talk about this for a minute?
Yeah, sure. So I think when you have a product like this that's first a consumable, but also very heavy to ship. So like as a store owner, it's always in the back of your mind, oh, how am I going to get someone over this hurdle of shipping really heavy jars? It's going to be multiple pounds. So she incentivizes them by saying shipping is cheaper, save $1 when you order 4 jars. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, gee, I'm sure I could have 4 jars of that. I could try 4 different flavors. And then it's kind of telling me she's not giving, even a large discount, but it incentivizes me to already have in my mind, oh, I'm looking for 4 things. Like it's already, it's stuck there and I'm already thinking about that.
So we think that's genius, Holly, because she really can't offer flat rate shipping. There's too wide a spread. And so I think that is absolutely genius too. We both of us said that pop-up, right? Is so good.
Yeah, totally.
Today is that I noticed, so Holly, of course, when we do these reviews, we actually spend some time talking about it and on your site. And what happened to me was I was on your site earlier, and then I came back to your site today when Tina and I were discussing what we would share with you, and your pop-ups didn't come up the second time. And so I want you to check your rules for your pop-ups. Those things have to show on every visit, because remember, it takes 2 to 3 visits. They say, Klaviyo says on average, it takes 3 times. They need to see your pop-up 3 times before they engage with it. And so if you show me your pop-up today, but then not again until tomorrow, it's really cutting your chances of getting a subscription, someone to sign up short.
Yeah.
So just that, but we think it is genius, this shipping pop-up. So let's talk about some of the questions that we ask when we're thinking about user experience. And so Tina, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah. So the first one that we like to ask is where I start match where I land. And so if you actually jump over to her Facebook page, and the reason, I'll just give a little background on this. So the reason that we ask this is actually most people aren't just typing in your store name or coming across your site somehow to your homepage. They're landing somewhere in your site because they've come across an ad, they've seen your social media posts, they're opening and clicking something in an email. And so we have to always think about what are these paths that people are taking to your site. And that's an important part of the user experience. Yeah. So we decided to choose your Facebook page because she's got great content on here. There's a link that takes you directly to a product for most of these posts. So it made a lot of sense that you probably drive traffic from Facebook. So let's look at that user experience.
The problem is I don't think it's going to follow. Let's see if it does. No, let's see if it does on StreamYard. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to.
Okay, so we'll just jump over. Yeah, sure.
And I'll share where we ended up. That's the thing about StreamYard, not the best for screen sharing. So that's where I landed. So the answer is absolutely yes, it does.
Yeah, which is great. So it takes us to a product page. You've got beautiful photos. You've got engaging copy, all the things here that you're introducing other products. All these things are wonderful and exactly what we want to see. So you're definitely doing a good job there. The next part of the user navigation is it easy for me to find what I'm looking for? And so this is where we found some room for improvement when you're actually on the site. So Susan, you want to start with the homepage and maybe we can talk about that slider section? Okay, perfect.
I'm going to close this pop-up just so everybody can see.
And just a quick note that the messaging and the image is beautiful here. I think that's totally spot on. But what I found interesting is if you actually stayed on this without changing anything, you would notice that there's a slider. And that slider is taking you on this amazing journey about the story that she gives back to Feeding America. She has videos about jam making. And then there's even one more. Let's see what the last one is. And this is probably bestseller, or this is another category of product. But what happens is nobody actually sits here long enough to go through the slideshow to see all these different things. So what I would recommend is taking each of these blocks and actually just making a really long homepage. So there's this really nice user flow where someone can go through. And also if they come across one of these pages, through a link somewhere, it's very clear that that's where they're landing.
Yeah, I love it because it would tell a story on the homepage, just in bites. So I think it would be really good. Okay, so what's next, Tina?
So next, let's jump to the navigation, because you had found something on the navigation, and then we just had a little bit of feedback on the way that it's organized as well.
So I'm here in Holly's hamburger menu, and this is what the navigation looks like on desktop. And I suspect it looks the same.
It looks the same on mobile. I checked it on my phone.
Okay. So Tina, right off the bat, you had a really valid point about.
Yeah. So for me, it was kind of, first, there's a lot going on here. Like it's already a lot of places to be or to go. And and that's fine if you feel like they're all important and they all need to be there. But for me, the hierarchy didn't really make sense. If your store is about jam, jelly, and fruit butter, I would expect those to be the first 3 links. And the Our Story, recipes, all of that could be moved down. And so for example, mugs, like it's great that you sell mugs, but I don't think that's your primary product. So why is that at the top of the navigation?
Right. And some of these things could easily go in the footer too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Product focused. Like usually people don't go to your story first, right? They look around a little bit, and if they're still interested, they might look at your story. And so I would think that on mobile, this is a lot.
Yeah. And again, just the most important things, the places where you want people to buy a product are sort of buried at the bottom. So I would move those up. And then we did find a little bit of an issue when we clicked on your key product page. So this one is actually broken.
Yeah. So we checked, we had a look at jams, and when I clicked the link, of course, it said there were no products. But I knew that there was because I had checked your Facebook and went right to a jam. And so you need to have a look and see if you can get that fixed up. But the other thing I think that I saw that was kind of a problem is I don't think you even need this products, because when we click that, and that's kind of the first thing people might click, and I don't think this serves you that well. What do you think, Tina?
Yeah, it seems like it's your entire catalog. And so I would prefer that this be something called bestsellers or in season now, or something like that, and really put what you're promoting, what you're selling right up there at the beginning. And I think and even if you wanted to have the collection be everything, I would reorganize it. So your in-stock products are at the top, and maybe you push the mugs to the bottom, because although they're cute, again, they feel like a little bit of a disconnect here.
And I feel like nobody's coming to you for mugs. That's an add-on product, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So, but this leads us to the last thing that we thought was an opportunity maybe that you were missing. And it's all these sold out products. And so, Tina, I thought that your thinking on this, I'm just going to go back to the homepage. Your thinking on this was spot on. Was that we could Holly could easily move the sold out products to one collection. And I think that you could really easily up your game with sold out products, because you have a lot of seasonal products. You have a lot of really interesting things, like those interesting cherry jams that don't really taste like cherries. Or you talked about the tropical one, which I think is called Hawaii Honeymoon, which had some pineapple and lots of different flavors. And so some of these are seasonal, some of those are sold out. And what I didn't see, like you do have a back in stock, so good for you. But what we didn't see is really adding some scarcity and urgency, maybe to the very top before people even sign up. Give them a reason. Name the collection that is a reason to sign up too, but give them a reason to sign up. So it could be, we only make this jam once a year. It's limited to a very small batch run of 200 jars. If you want to be the first to know when we are running it and either place your pre-order or order it as soon as it's ready, make sure you sign up here because this list will know first. Don't you agree, Tina?
Yeah, completely. I think anytime where you have a really special product like that, it's such an opportunity for list building. And then you can also have that be a list in your Klaviyo. So, not only are those people interested, the back in stock people, you can also send them, hey, here's your special offer. Maybe it's going to be buy 5 jars and get X dollars off your shipping, or, get a free mug when you buy 4 jars of our special collection or something. There's ways to create promotions around it. But the first most important thing is to use that as a list building tool that you actually have out of stock product can be to your benefit.
Yep. So remember, scarcity, urgency, exclusivity, Holly, use those. And I would call the collection something like heirloom or artisan, something that is really like says that it's special, but also says that it's not available like today.
Yeah. And I think there's something you could borrow. It might be interesting to even look at how vintage sites do it, or any site that really sells one of a kind, because a lot of times they'll have a collection called In the Archives or something like that, where but then you can use your copy to say, hey, these are going to come back, but they come back, once a year or whatever it is.
XYZ number.
Mm-hmm.
Like a limited edition artisanal jams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your language of your jam buyer, so
that's really more powerful than so many other things that are in that menu.
Yeah, because you just don't want to constantly have these sold out products. But if you push those to the bottom and then you also gave them their own home on the website, that would make a lot of sense. With, like Susan said, the copy at the top that explains why it's important. And why this is a page of sold out items and what you need to know about that. Yeah. So there it is, the Hawaiian Honeymoon Jam. And so many amazing reviews. So there's definitely a loyal customer for this who's going to want to know that this is going to come back at some time.
Right. And like Christmas Jam too, it's not sold out presently, but that's another one. Like those are things that you could really make that a big deal. That could be an event or something that you launch once a year. And so I would make that a lot more special. But generally, both Tina and I, so I have to say, I said to Tina, okay, why are we doing Holly's?
I know. She's like, what's wrong with Holly's site? It looks great.
But so generally your site looks great. I think you use reviews really well. And in a product like yours where people can't taste it or try it before, that would be the same for anything that has a scent that we can't smell. Same thing, right? You've done a great job of using those reviews, and the words in those reviews are so good to get people ready to buy. So let's talk about 3 action steps for Holly.
Yep.
Number 1 was, we think you should break out those sliders and tell that story on your homepage, right?
Correct. Yep, exactly. And then number 2 was go through your navigation menu, just make sure the links are working. So for example, that jam page, and then just think about the hierarchy and how you could maybe simplify that a little bit. So when someone opens it on the phone, it's not like, oh, I don't know what to click.
Yeah. And of course, if you sell more jam than jelly, jam should be number 1, right? And then it could be jelly, and then it could be artisanal limited edition.
Exactly.
It could be something like that. And then I want you to have a rethink about whether everything needs to be in that menu. Look at it on your phone. That's the best way. And then the last thing is to take those sold out products and move them to one collection. We think that would make a lot of sense. And then you have a way to kind of track and measure how well that's working. And you also have the ability to promote it. Make it a thing on your site. Like really do. Like I'm laughing because I can't even say artisanal or artisanal. I don't know, but it's the thing, right? As soon as you say something like that, it makes me want it. Limited edition, right? And so I think you could make that a thing, and you could talk about that collection. And so it takes what could potentially be a negative for an experience into something like, oh, I want that.
Yeah. And then I think when you put them, when they are back in stock, when you are able to get the ingredients and make another batch, I would highly recommend having that little countdown that says how many are left in stock. So it's going to say 20 in stock, 10 in stock. And, then you can really drive that urgency as well, because they're going to sell out quickly and people are going to be like, oh, there's 4 left. I'm buying the last 4. I'm filling my cart.
On my to-do list. I got to get it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know who this is because you have to give StreamYard permission to use your profile. But whoever you are, Holly, you got a sale.
Renee is asking what her website is. So it's Holly's Handmade. It's sorry, it's not letting me type in right now. But Holly, just Google it. Holly's Homemade Jams.
Holly's Homemade Jams and Jellies, I believe. Let me go back to the site. So it is. So it's hollies-homemade.com.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Wendy says a friend makes honey, does this with summer types and sells out when she says it's limited. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't only apply to food brands. I think anybody can do this with, if you make a custom item or you have a limited edition, the way you message it might change slightly, but the concept is the same. Oh, thank you, Blue, for putting the URL there. I appreciate that.
Blue's going to be on the podcast soon.
Excellent.
Remember Blue's amazing strategy about how he got all those images?
Yeah, I know you were one of our first 15-minute feedback episodes, and you've made so much progress. It's amazing. Yeah.
So good. I wanted to share something else. Oh, the scarcity urgency. So it doesn't always have to be about price. And scarcity and urgency and exclusivity are incredibly powerful emotional triggers for people to buy. And I talk about that on this week's podcast. It's episode 104. It's really worth listening to because it might flip the way you think about whether you're doing all the things you need to do to get sales right now. And so it's an episode that I did because I see so many people who think they're doing all the things. And then I go look and I'm like, oh yeah, you're not really. Sorry. But it's kind of a subtle difference between what you're doing right now and just a little bit of extra that you have to do that's going to move the needle for you. So that's why I did that episode. It's episode 104. So Darnell or Darlene. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Darlene? Darlene.
Mm-hmm.
I think she'll correct us when we see her. She loves the idea of a limited edition for sure. So this is the little home shopping network is to give you a text notification just a few minutes before we go live with 15-minute feedback. But I can't think of anything else that we need to share with you today.
Well, Vontina is asking what the name of the podcast is. So that would be helpful to share.
The podcast, Vontina, is the Roadmap to 50K on Shopify. And so it's every episode I try and give you something actionable that you can actually do. And so you'll find it on Apple or on Spotify or even on our website under podcast. You can listen right in your browser too. And I would highly recommend it. And if you're not a member of the Roadmap to 50K Facebook group, you should jump in there because there's lots of stuff that will help you in there as well. So, I'm laughing. I'm stumbling over my words today anyway. So listen, gang, thank you for watching. Thanks for all your comments. And make sure that if this sounds good to you, you apply for 50-minute feedback. I love to see what you're working on. And Tina, you do too, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's really fun. Yeah.
So I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks.
Tina.
Bye.
Bye.